What is up, everybody? Boy, oh boy, gamers in Drago. This is not gaming after dark, but sure looks like it, right? We have got our reaction show for you all today, and I don't think there's any intros necessary. We got Noof Nukem here, Wise Old Gamer, and the middle-aged game guy coming at you all hot and heavy about with our reactions, what we thought of the showcase today. And before we dive into the show, there's one thing I got to get off my chest, and I usually don't mind being interrupted.
What's that, your wife?
No, it's a guy. It's a cheap Australian boy that he hired, basically. Yeah.
Well, this is one of those times I just need the mic for a few.
Go ahead, man.
Because to me, it's become like apparent that Xbox is listening to PlayStation zealots too much. The show was decent, but should have been better in my opinion, and I'm going to explain why. The Xbox community are letting those idiots dictate what we should expect to see. Why? I guess they want to stick it to the PlayStation zealots that attacked, what we loved back in 2013, when we were at our low. But like, that shit's 9 fucking years ago. It's time to let that shit go. And Xbox is obviously at the top now, right? And PlayStation zealots are still doing the same thing as they were back in 2013. So just let them destroy themselves and stop giving them acknowledgement is my thing. Not only is the Xbox community acknowledging them, but this show has the stain of these zealots who are afraid of the future of Xbox. Therefore, Xbox should have flaunted that. We have an amazing year ahead, no doubt about it. But I give the show a 72 out of 100.
Oh, what the fuck?
That's decent, right? However,
oh my
the last two shows did much more for me. They had more AAA games. I don't care when they came out. Like, show them, because I don't know when this whole 12-month thing came along, but that shit's got to go. Because it would take like an extra, 5 to 10 minutes to include all of these games that I'm going to list off here in a minute. Like, my point is, show them. I don't care if it's more than 12 months out. Show them. PlayStation fanboys always saying, oh, Xbox, it's the wait box. Wait until next year, yada, yada, yada. And Xbox.
We are waiting till next year.
Hold on. You can see Xbox kind of made it their goal to shut up that narrative in the show. And, well, hey, good job about doing that. But your show didn't live up to the potential because you're trying to shut up idiots that don't deserve a voice in this fucking world. Like, I wanted to see Hellblade 2, Stalker 2, more Avowed, Contraband, more Fable. There was no Star Wars announcement. Also, nothing coming from the Machine Games, who tweeted out the day before, can't wait until tomorrow. So maybe... Maybe those will be in a deep dive, right? I think that's on Tuesday.
Officially, the deep dive has no new games.
It's got nothing to do with that. The deep dive is just stuff that they've already shown. It's going to be got a bunch of people sitting on couches, you know what I mean, developers, and then they're going to be deep diving about the games already shown. Nothing new is coming on Tuesday.
It's going to be like a Treehouse Live.
Well, yeah. But, besides that, this was the main show, and there was no highlights from any of those games, like from the future, right? And I think that's all this show is missing. And a look at the pipeline in the future. We pushed the show. I think showing that pipeline would have pushed the show into like the 90s range for me, like the last 2 years. And here's why. Xbox can say that all these games are coming out this year, all they want. But the fact of the matter is, they're not, like, no games are immune to delay. So why focus on this year and this 12-month number when this year isn't even guaranteed? You just can't trust release dates this day and age, in my opinion, from anyone. Hell, you can't even trust going gold anymore, right? So I'm almost done. Like, the last two shows were better because Xbox listened to the Xbox fans, not idiots from the other side. Hell, like, maybe the Xbox fans told Xbox to do it this way because there's that pipeline of info on the Xbox side. You can see it. It doesn't exist on the PlayStation side. But our pipeline should have, like, tuned all this negativity out, the fools from the other side. tell them, just keep telling those guys in a condescending way that, how idiotic they are. Use their own words against them. They do it to themselves all the time anyway. So it should be, business as usual. They're the scum of the gaming earth. They don't deserve acknowledgement. And my opinion, they should have just done the show like the last 2 years. As a closing statement, before I ask the panel their in-depth thoughts, I say this as a message to Xbox. Zealots are afraid of the future. Never hide your strengths. Okay? So now I want you all to give me your overall opinion of the show one at a time. Then we'll dive into either one of the positives or negatives first, depending on how the chat answers this poll. I'm gonna put a poll in the chat asking if you guys want to hear the positives or negatives after you get all of our overall opinions. Okay, and then I want to see how long it takes to describe our positives. Then I'm going to compare that with how long it took to describe the negative. And at the end, I'll aggregate those scores to give our collective opinion on the show and whether we rank it, as a pass fail or whatever, if it got off the ground or it never got off the grounded. So I'll poll the chat, and whoever wants to start can go ahead now with your overall views of the show and what you thought about my spiel or whatnot.
Well, I'll say this, okay? You probably nutted when they announced Riot Games on it, didn't you? With League of Legends and all that crap coming on, I
already knew that was coming out like a year ago.
Well, I mean, that made no interest. Okay, look, let me say it this way. As a teacher, this is how I graded it overall. That made no interest. Okay, look, let me say it this way. As a teacher, I gave it a 61 because in general, yeah, if this was a high school submission from a high school student, yes, it would pass. But if this was a submission from a college student, I would fail it. There was no games that I was interested in whatsoever. There were a few good highlights here and there, but there was nothing there that I was excited about. Now, yeah, I see why they did it because, hey, it is a nice little poster that you could put in GameStop. Hey, we got 30 plus games that you can have relatively for free for $2.99 and stuff like that. But for me as a gamer, the games that I tend to play, none of these games seem interesting. So I come from the old NES type games. So I look at it, okay, what game would I pay $70 or $60 for? And right now I'm going through the list, except for maybe Forza. There is really nothing here. Maybe Forza and of course Starfield. There's really nothing here that I could gravitate towards. Most of the games were indie, and I did not know whether I was watching the Xbox Bethesda Showcase or I was watching the Nintendo Indie Direct. It was all these other gee golly games that I just didn't find any interest whatsoever in. And I mean, yeah, this is the Xbox Bethesda Showcase. Show us Xbox Bethesda. Don't show us all this other crap. I'm not interested. This is a good, appetizer. This is like the good bread and butter before your dinner, but this is not the main course. There was nothing here, nothing whatsoever that made me walk away saying, wow. Like one of the biggest highlights, they had a poll on IGN while the show was running. Most people were excited about the Kojima announcement than any of the other games. And that's saying a lot when the most anticipated game is a game that nobody even knows what the hell it's about yet. So that's my take on it. Noof Mac.
Go ahead, Mac.
All right. This is what I thought. Kind of similar to what Wiseau Gamer was talking about is that I didn't think, okay, if all those games that they showed, I might have been interested in maybe 4 or 5. And the way I looked at it, I looked at what the hell is it called? High on Life, right up there. That's like my right up there. What was the other one? Plague Tale, Starfield, Redfall, and I can't remember what else. Maybe like 4 or 5 that I'm like definitely gonna play. The rest of them, I'm like, all right, it looks cool. It looks all right. I'll dabble. I'll try it on Game Pass or whatever, right? But that's that they miss. I feel they missed the mark on big like spectacle third-party games,
right?
In Game Pass. That is where Sony curb stomps the shit out of Xbox every single time. Now, the thing is, if you want to get the people in there, and I'm not talking about us, like we're the hardcore, we're already in the community, we're already in the ecosystem, whatever else, right? And we're already subscribed to Game Pass. No one's canceling it, all right? But if you want to get those other people in there, those bigger, like you want to get those big numbers in there, you want to get this 100 million, okay, Xbox console owners back in there, just like they did in the 360 days and whatever else, you want that, then you have to bring the thunder when it comes to these third-party games. Like, for example, Sony always brings a Marvel game of some kind, some kind of Disney tie-in to whatever, right? Star Wars. These are buzzwords. These are big-time pop culture names. Harry Potter, Resident Evil. They get these names and they throw them around like that, and that's where they crush that's where they crush Xbox. 90% of the games that they showed today, I'm not saying they're bad. They're actually great. There are a lot of games that I'm like, you know what? That looks really cool. I can't wait to try it, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But no one's running out there to go play these games. I was saying on the Boom Show earlier today, I'm like, how many casuals are out there are playing the gunk? Nobody's playing the gunk. Some of us did. Okay, I played the gunk. Actually, I really enjoyed it. But you know what I'm saying? But if you get a Wolverine announcement, that's where you make a big splash in a show like this, right? But if you pull out names, what big taglines, what big pop culture names did they show today that actually garners massive media attention? Zero. Nobody knows what the fuck Redfall is, right? We know what it is, like us as gamers or whatever. And like I said, but I'm saying if you're trying to attract that, whatever, 2 billion gamers, 3 billion gamers, you're not going to do it with these games. It's not going to work. It's not enough. And that's what, you know what else to me was a fail today? You had 3 games. First of all, you remember in the other shows, guys, when they used to do that thing where like, oh, and by the way, you could download this game right after the show, right in Game Pass. It's right there right now. And they shadow drop something and they got the crowd buzzed up with that shit, right? They did none of that today. For example, you've got Star Wars, the Lego Skywalker saga, okay, sitting there. It's discounted right now, all right, in the Xbox store, which to me was a telltale sign, no pun intended, a telltale sign, Traveler's Tales, whatever the hell they are, and they could have dropped that on Game Pass. Dying Light 2, that they put $50 million into the production of the game. Why the fuck was that not dropped in Game Pass today? Today. Get some buzz going around here. Tiny Tina's Wonderland. They have an amazing relationship with that company. Why the hell isn't Tiny Tina's Wonderland dropped in there today? Why wasn't Saints Row announced as a drop today? Or Gotham Knights as a drop today? Maybe they will later. But the thing is, when you got that many eyeballs watching the show today, you need to take advantage of those eyeballs watching you today, not in a fucking tweet a month from now. That doesn't make any waves. Nobody cares. When you put on a big show, put on the big show. Put up the big names. That's what they need to do, and that's why I gave it a 7. I'm bringing it down to a 6, and it's not because of the quality, and it's not because of the number of games that they're actually releasing. Those things they nailed perfectly, but the problem is the show lacked pizzazz. 80% of the time, I was falling asleep, and it wasn't just because I was hungover. Okay, it was because it was fucking boring. That's what I saw, and it was nothing that really moved the meter for me. I got Game Pass right now, right? What am I gonna play from now until whenever one of these games come out? There's literally nothing in there I want to play that I haven't already played. Like, can anybody answer that for me? June, I paid for June. I'm paying for July. I'm paying for August. I'm paying for September. There's nothing coming between now and then of significance. You could say, oh, well, there's this whatever indie game. Don't give a shit. I mean, I care, but I don't care. You know what I mean? Where the hell are the big names? You got the money. You got the clout. Why don't you have those big games dropping in there? Like I said, those 3 games that I said earlier that are already out. Why aren't they in Game Pass this summer? Why aren't they in Game Pass starting today? I'm not playing Flight Simulator so I can fly a fucking pelican around or whatever the hell those things are called. Flamingo. Okay? I'm not doing that. Give me something that like the mainstream want to play. That's what I'm saying. So that I think that they missed the mark there. So and I know Mr. Boomstick feels the same way. Where are the big splashy announcements like KI?
Exactly.
Where are the big announcements like,
So
the
there's
Banjo
nothing that you can grab onto and say, "Oh my God, this was phenomenal." Nothing that
Right,
you
like-
can walk away from and
like
say,
a
"Oh my
buzz,
God."
like a real buzz, a big like a big buzz sort of thing,
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
like Call of Duty and Game Pass would have melted the internet. Nothing melted the internet to me today. And like I said, it's
right.
not a shot at the show. The show wasn't bad.
Fuck that.
But
That is a bad show. It was a shot at the show. The show was horrible. Anyone saying it's not a bad show is just being politically correct.
No. That's not what I'm
No.
saying. Is it wasn't
I
a
don't think it
badly
was a
put
bad
together show.
Mhm.
What I'm saying, I'm not saying like it wasn't a bad put together show. They did what they did. It's like what any other these game showcase. The thing is, it's the content to me was the problem. Like it wasn't the actual presentation, but I think it was the content or the lack thereof. Like for example, if they had done something crazy like Call of Duty Day 1, right? Let's just say, okay, for argument's sake, that would have been all over IGN, Kotaku, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, everywhere. Everybody be talking about it. But instead, the only thing that
'cause
I
the new
see,
Call of Duty is hot right now.
Right.
Right.
and here's the thing.
And
Just
I'm not even
released
into
the
Call of Duty,
gameplay.
and I like it. I'm not even into Modern Warfare 2, and I'm intrigued to play it.
No,
So.
yes, exactly. Now, here's the thing. What is everybody talking about, though? How divisive the show was. That's not the press you need.
Exactly.
Right.
Anyways, that's my thoughts.
So, Mag, what do you think, real quick, before we come to Noof? What do you think of my because I think they just reached too far. I think they kind of fell off of their high horse here. They were on track, man, for years.
They were crushing
2
it
years
like
in a row.
2 straight years. Yeah.
Yes. 2 fantastic years in a row. I gave them over a 90. I think it was a 94 and a 92, I think. And those are fantastic shows. So what changed from last year to now?
There's no follow-up.
I feel like you know what, Noof's right. I feel like those 2 delayed games made them stumble, and the problem is, what really brings greatness, no pun intended, talking about between Xbox and Sony, is being able in anything. I'm not just talking about this industry or whatever. I'm talking about in life in general. When there's a curveball, it's how you react to that curveball, right? It's how you act after that. It's what split decision do you make, that can actually move you in a positive direction and keep you going. When something goes wrong in my kitchen and I'm in the middle of plating 130 dishes and someone comes to me with a problem, I solve it without even flinching. It takes 2 seconds and I fix the problem. Not only fix the problem, but made it better. When you got a machine as big as Microsoft with all those moving parts, when something gets thrown off, nobody reacts because I think they're afraid to react because they don't know what parts are moving in which direction, right? So they move too goddamn slowly. Hey, what's that?
You think they're a little bit too bloated at this point in time? There are too many balls they're juggling at one time that they can't.
I think so, but I think that they should have. I think they should have moved fast, and they should have taken that mind share, and they could have bought up every third-party game that wasn't nailed to the fucking floor by Sony. And the thing is, I'm gonna keep talking about Sony, and the reason why people are like, well, Sony's not, it's not the same, and different competition. Well, here's the thing: if you're trying to take the Sony crowd away from Sony onto your platform, which is what you're trying to do. Okay, you're not trying to shut Sony down, but you're trying to take a piece of their pie, right? Because they got 140 million people between the PS4 and PS5. If you're trying to steal those people over to the Xbox ecosystem, then you got to play the way Sony does. That's the way it is. You don't have to mimic exactly what they're doing, but you got to be playing the same fucking game. And that's the problem. They're not playing the same game. They should, like I said, they should have got every third-party game that's not nailed to the floor. Day 1 in Game Pass, all it would have done was cost them money that they fucking make hand over fist every second of the day. They're making that money. They could have bought all those games and put them in there. Not exclusive. They could still go to Sony, Switch, wherever, PC, but it should have been put on Game Pass. That's how you say, wow, boy, did they ever fix that situation. 2022 is a banger now because Sony is not going to lay back. They're not doing a great job this gen. In fact, Sony's shitting the bed a lot. But the one thing that they are doing is that they got all the big names. Where's the Ubisoft Star Wars game? Just even mention it. You know what I'm saying? Or something. I don't know.
There is
Where the fuck are these games?
That's why I think they were trying to just stop these narratives just too much this year. And it's obvious that they reached for this. So, Mag, do you have anything more to say before we get to new?
No, that was it. I was just I was pissed off.
All right, real quick, shout out to the chat. We got Justin Darby. What's going on, buddy? Sean, what's going on? Silent Cypher. Doggy Dog. And I know you were hyped for one game on this show a lot, Doggy Dog. And I'll tell you what, I was right there with you. I was really impressed with the Forza.
That was amazing.
Thanks for joining us. HR Bomber. Noof.
Mm-hmm. Oh boy. Well, look, I wouldn't say I have a vastly different opinion from you guys, and maybe this year, perhaps the reason I'm actually more impressed with the show is I came in with very little expectation. I mean, over the last little while, I've voiced my various concerns and frustrations with Xbox and Microsoft and the inability, it seems, to get stuff done or put it out there. A lot of the stuff that I had on my wish list didn't see. But I didn't really expect to see it per se. But I just think, when Microsoft is essentially the only team on the field right now, the only team that's really coming out to play ball, I feel like they've gotten the breakaway and they keep missing the net. They have a chance. The last 2 years, I think they did great. They showed us a lot of amazing stuff. Why we didn't get some follow up to some of that stuff is beyond me. I mean, it's been 2 years in COVID. I know, yes, it's certainly thrown curveballs everybody's way, but you think in that structure of time, there would have been a little bit more about some of the big franchises that we've heard so much about. I mean, my God, Fable's got to be somewhere along, isn't it? And Perfect Dark's got to be somewhere along, or Indiana Jones or something. I mean, there was no mention of Gears in any which way or form. There was virtually nothing Halo. We didn't even get an announcement about the co-op, for example. We just got the fact that now you can fly the friggin' plane in Flight Simulator. So at least somebody's doing something right. I feel like the only person that really is earning their paycheck right now is Sarah Bond. And she's putting everything and anything underneath the sun into Game Pass right now. I mean, and that's the real winner today. If you're a Game Pass subscriber, boy, you're a real winner, because almost everything today had a big Game Pass logo, day one, coming to Game Pass. But you know what? It's not about the amount that goes to Game Pass. It's what goes in Game Pass that gets me excited. And I keep asking myself the same old question, is which of these games that I see today would I easily have spent $80 or $90 or $100 Canadian on without blinking in the eye? And the answer is very few. I'm right there with Meg, with maybe there was 4 or 5 standout titles. The show started really good. There's no question about it. On Boomstick Show today, we were all super mega stoked when it started today. I mean, it came out swinging pretty good. Redfall looked better than I'd ever seen it. We at least know a bit about the game. It was looking really good. It looked like a lot of fun. And you follow that up with some other stuff, including Forza Motorsport, which is easily now the racing game to beat. Certainly the best looking racing game on the planet. Has not just, and if I hear, this is the one thing, okay? If a Sony PlayStation fan's going to come at you with GTA, what is it, 6 or Gran Turismo 6 looks better than this, they really send them please to the optometrist. Or tell them they need to I don't know, take the wiener out from between their legs, because I think they've been fucking themselves in the ass too long. Seriously, because that fucking that was some next level unbelievable motorsport racing genius right there. That shit was wow. They
tell Gran Turismo the fat lady's on in 5.
Oh, baby. I'm telling you, Gran Turismo, almost embarrassing at this point after seeing that. And that's what you call, taking a few years off and making it count. I mean, they umped everything in that game. But, outside of that, the show had that sort of massive lull. We started seeing all these weird games and indies and stuff. And again, you know what? And this is no offense to the fans of these genres, like your Sea of Thieves and your Fallout 76, but I think Mag, you agreed, and a few other guys agreed on moves that we don't really need to see this shit all the freaking time, all these seasonal stuff. To me, it's just a waste of show. You just wasted 10 or 15 minutes of somebody's time just talking about crap that you could easily have on one of those Larry Herb boring specials all the time, the Xbox, whatever the frig they call them. Leave that shit for that. We want to see new, exciting stuff, not just rehashed, regurgitated stuff. Like I've said this a million times. It's the most frustrating team in the business. Rare. They're super talented. We know that. But where's your stuff? I mean, obviously they came up with Everwild how many years ago? We haven't heard a damn thing about it. They haven't shown off anything else new.
We just don't know what the fuck it is. Nobody knows what the fuck it is.
Nobody knows what it is. Obviously lots of rumors about Banjo-Kazooie. Nobody heard a damn squeak about that at all. Just to me, there was a lot of missed opportunity here. Again, I understand they don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole. They don't want to show stuff that's so far out that we sit here for the next 5 years going, what the hell is going on? But you know what? We're already in that position because we're still here 5 years later talking about shit that they announced, pre-COVID. Games that were in development pre-COVID. Like I said, 30-odd studios, and where is your beef and biscuits? I mean, even Bethesda came out on the show. Did Bethesda show us anything new today? Yes or no? No. They showed us Redfall.
You know what's funny?
They showed us Starfield. Nothing new.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
You know what's funny?
Go ahead.
Wandering Dutch said to me, actually, after the show, he said, if Bethesda didn't show up, Xbox Game Studios showed one game.
Exactly. Flight Simulator.
One game.
Or Forza.
All right. Well, you gotta know because you gotta one game, I guess, without DLC because there's a lot of DLC. We got Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, but those games have been out for years.
Release, which I'm really hyped for Grounded about because I just got back into that this last week with my family, and man, have they added a lot. I'm loving what they added to that game. They my base was so big and Grounded. Like every time I would place a new piece, it would take 5 seconds to actually plant it. So they fixed that since I played it last.
Plus, you get to play with midgets.
My base and whatnot. And I'm actually building my way to the house, and I'm almost there right now. And I'm so close that it just popped up. It said under construction. So I do think they're going to open up the house at some point.
Right.
But this you're supposedly going to get the end of the story for that, and that really hyped me up. But there were other Microsoft games there too. I mean, Elder Scrolls, Fallout 76, which to me those
are all Bethesda.
Show.
Once again, those are all Bethesda. Where's Xbox Game Studios?
I knew this show was fucked when they announced in the beginning of the show there's going to be 30 games. And on the 20 mark, they announced As Dusk Falls. They spent 5 freaking hours on Dusk Falls. And I can't explain why they did that. And it doesn't make any freaking sense to me why they would spend 5 minutes on Dusk Falls. And it is.
I don't even remember that. It must have been in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Dusk Falls is that one that looked like the comic.
Yeah, the one that's like an interactive story. I'm like, are you serious?
Oh, that one,
spending 5 fucking minutes on this damn game that is an indie at best. That means you really don't have anything to show, and you're halfway through the show. And that's when I knew that the writing was on the wall for the show. I was not expecting.
The first 10 minutes was hot.
No. Well, that's just it. They should have started the show with one big banger to kick things off. Redfall wasn't necessarily the worst thing to start the show with, and then they should have immediately got the sort of the drizzle out and just ramp the show up instead of it kind of getting you hype and then kind of letting you kind of fall asleep in the middle and then trying to wake you the fuck back up. I mean, the whole Kojima thing. I mean, that was crazy. Didn't see that coming. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm the biggest Kojima fan in the world. This doesn't change anything for me, the fact that he's coming on and doing something with Xbox. To me, I think he's still one of the most overrated creators on the planet. Give it all that. Death Stranding was actually a lot better than I thought it was going to be. And I've eaten my words on that. But we just like to have fun with it tonight. But I mean, obviously, yes, that's a big announcement. That's probably one of the things that stole the show for a lot of people. And again, the whole Team Tecmo or the Team Ninja stuff was great. I mean, that Wukong or whatever the heck they call it, that game looked absolutely amazing. And of course, Xbox's commitment to the Japanese ecosystem. For a lot of fans out there, the Persona thing was a huge announcement today. I've heard the cries through the community for the last how many years that people want Persona. Now, that's not a franchise I give an absolute rat's dingly dink about. So I pretty much was like, snooze control on that one, but I understand. Not everything is going to appeal to me, and it's not going to, and the stuff that I like is not going to appeal to anybody else. Again, I just come down to the fact that you almost a 2-hour show, and they're bragging this up, and they really don't. Like I said, for me, even like Hellblade, because we know that like I know we've seen a bit of it, but wouldn't it have been nice to see a little like a nice meaty chunk of that today, and or a surprise announcement that Hellblade is now coming, say fall of 2023, like something like that to really show this Unreal Engine 5. And then even in the middle drab of that show, did anybody notice a trend that like almost 80% it felt like the games that they showed all had like fucking cartoony kind of graphics, like everything felt like it was being watered down for the Sesame Street crowd. Like what the fuck was going on there?
It was
They have a long history of that shit.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
I think honestly they forgot their audience.
You're trying to appease kind of or shut up the other side.
Who are they trying to please anymore? Exactly. Who are they trying to please here? Which fans are they listening to? Who are they building the shows for? Just a mix match? Is it a toss up with them at this point? Okay. Is it just they don't want to show stuff too far out, too far in? Where is it? There's a lot coming because, like you guys are saying, this show that's coming up this week or whatever, the 14th or whatever. I'm with you, Mag. I don't think we're going to see hardly anything new. If anything, it'll pretty much probably be like, "Hey, here's an in-depth look at the shit we just showed you on Sunday."
Well, it is what that's exactly what it is, because they're not going to show new material because they know that, first of all, you're only going to get 25% of the amount of people that watch today's show watch that show. It is a supplemental show just to show a break for the people who enjoy like the breakdowns and like, you know, how we did this and how we did that and how we did this with this technology and this engine. You know, there's some people who are really into that stuff, right? Like the real hardcore nerdy stuff. Great. But that's what that show is. It's not a second show. Like everybody's got to get that out of their head that this was one show and then Tuesday's going to be the same thing just with all new announcements. It's not happening, guys. They've done this every single year and it's the same fucking thing. Like it's,
in fact,
you know what I'm saying?
Stupid to do so. In fact, they'd be stupid to do so. If they announce a game like Avowed on Tuesday, what are they thinking? You know,
they're not going to.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
If anything that was going to happen should have happened this morning.
Exactly.
That's
it. Doesn't even make business sense, you know? So
think about this for a second. Think about this for 1 second, guys. Pretend it's a boxing match. Sony throws a haymaker and hits Microsoft right in the jaw with it, right? I'm just theoretically asking here. Does anybody feel like Xbox threw a shot right back to give him that clap back, like that knockdown blow? I don't feel it.
I'd go as far to say this. I mean, Sony is hitting Microsoft every which way they can, and Microsoft is explaining away the punches. Microsoft's like, oh, okay, here's another cheek, you know, just turning the other cheek. I think Sony has the kill attitude, that competition attitude. Microsoft does not. I think, to be honest with you, Microsoft is playing and rolling over and playing dead here. You know, this was an abomination of a show. You guys like it. You guys gave it a 70. I think it's a catastrophic clusterfuck. You know, I mean,
so what did you give it out of 100? Wise, you gave it a 60 something, right?
Yeah, I said I will pass it if it was a high school
not
student
even failing.
No. A 60, if it was a high school student working, it would be a passing. But if this was a college level submission, this would be a fail. You would fail with a D in college. So yeah. So this is what I say. I give it a 60, barely, you know, like just being generous.
That's the same that I gave it. I started at a 7 this morning, and the more I sat on it, I gave it a 6. So now I'm down to 6.
It went down.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you know, it's just not doing it for me. Like, you know, even the Starfield thing. Like, I mean, they showed Starfield. I mean, it looks magnificent. I mean, that could be like a generation-defining kind of game, right?
Are you crazy?
It's still
Did you see the same thing that I saw? That thing was so rough around the edges. It was stuttering, and
it was hard to tell. Wiesel, it was hard to tell, brother, because I was watching it on a stream.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I wasn't watching it like on the big screen, like because I was doing the live show with Boom, and I was watching it on my laptop inside of the other stream. So like I couldn't tell if it was the stream that was janky or it was the game, right? So I'm not going to say anything until I rewatch it.
It looks like the facial animations reminded me of Outer World. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, a lot. But the thing is,
I'm going to have to watch it again.
They kind of played their gameplay at like a slow pace. And I think that was purposeful because it sure looks to me like Starfield is a 30 FPS game. You do them slow motions to kind of avoid the stutter of 30 FPS. So you can't really tell it's not 60. What do you guys think of that? Because I think that's where they went with this. I'm pretty sure it's going to be 30 FPS, at least to start.
It looks like basically Bethesda's take on No Man's Sky. If No Man's Sky was built by Bethesda, that's probably what it would look like, and that's what I felt.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, when I saw that, like there were so many comparisons between No Man's Sky and Starfield. It was unreal. Like I was expecting for them to shoot asteroids and kind of just drive into it to collect resources as well, because that's what you're doing in No Man's Sky. But I kind of want to hold that off until the end. Anything more about the overall show, because yeah, it's like we were all kind of saying this.
I think.
What about
I'm saying I think they forgot their audience. I think that they were so busy trying to clamor to everybody else, trying to get League of Legends, trying to get Overwatch 2, trying to get Diablo, trying to get all this other stuff, that they forgot that, hey, our core audience, the people that have stuck through us through the whole abomination that was the 1X generation, is watching this, and they're looking for something, and they didn't give us anything. And that's what I think. They forgot.
I feel like there was nothing to brag about. Not that I'm a bragging kind of person, but I feel like if you were like part of like the Twitter wars or console wars, I feel like there was nothing today to really brag about. Like there's not, like if you were gonna be an asshole about it, like you can't, like I don't feel like there was anything that you could actually sit there and go, ha, did you see that? And blah blah blah. Like it didn't really feel like that. And that's why you could see, and hey man, and people could think I'm crazy, people think I'm wrong. I'm not wrong. Go to fucking Twitter right now and take a look. And you tell me if anybody's boasting anything. It's really quiet. You know what I mean?
Overall opinion, but the Axel gives a good point. 1,000 planets. That's one thing they did knock out of the park was the scope of that game.
Okay, but what are you going to be doing on those 1,000 planets?
Yeah, see, I you know what? The more I watched the Starfield, funny enough, the less I was interested. Not with the exploration and the combat. As soon as I saw like the mining for materials, building bases, and like I'm like, oh fuck, no, come on! Like I don't want to play grounded.
Really, that's the part I liked.
Yeah, I know, but that's your shtick though. That's like your shtick. I'm not into the games like Grounded and Minecraft. I don't like that shit. I'm not interested in it. I mean, like I said, it's not a knock on anybody that likes that stuff. That's great. But I'm just saying that's just not my bag. The more I watch that, I'm like, oh, come on. This is not Skyrim. You're not building villages in Skyrim like a PC game.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? That's what I was expecting more of that. Now, I'm not saying that there's not going to be a lot of that. But, you know, I don't know. Who the hell knows?
Yeah, I'll still take Mass Effect. Thank you.
I was looking at all these games that they announced. I have close to 200 hours in Forbidden West. I've platinumed that game. Now, not only are they fighting for our money, but they're also fighting for our time because there's just so much to do, and we all have jobs outside of just playing games. So they need to have a reason for us to sit down with a controller and play. None of these games that they've announced, apart from maybe Starfield and Redfall and Silksong, I would be willing to invest 200 hours of my life to play. And I'm just going to put it out there. None of these games. So that's one of the things that really also upset me, that they didn't give me anything with a sizable amount of depth, except for the few that I was expecting to have depth anyway. So like Starfield. So.
All right. So the chat voted that they wanted to hear the good first. So I'm going to mark the time. It's 5. We'll say 5:45 by the time we get started. 5:44. So our objective is to say only positive things about the show. It can be about any game, but we'll just kind of bounce off of each other and let it, kind of talk about what our opinions are about nothing but positive things about the show. And when we're done, let me know, and then I'll mark the time again, and then we'll start on the negative. So positive things only. Let's start with Wise.
I was able to masturbate and didn't miss anything.
Come on.
Well, yeah, I was able to log off, get on Pornhub, watch it for a while, do what I needed to do, come back and say, hey, I didn't miss anything. No, but all jokes aside, what did I like about it? I like Silksong. I like the fact that it's coming to Game Pass. There were I'm a big fan of Plague's Tale, so knowing that Requiem is coming on Game Pass was also good. Forza Motorsports, I'm not even into racers like that, especially simulation racers, but it's got me intrigued. And knowing that I don't have to pay a retail price for Diablo 4 is also good. And yeah, and of course, Starfield looks pretty in depth And oh yeah, the Persona. I've already played Persona 5, so I'm not going to go back and play it again because it's a huge time sink. But hopefully this means that the next Persona that comes out, Persona 6, whenever that comes out, will hopefully come day and date to Game Pass. So that would be my top.
You're kind of, man, you rolled through these games. Is that all you got? Like 1 minute of good stuff? So like, let's bounce off of him because there was a lot more good things that I think we can draw out of this show. Because like the good things about Starfield, I really liked the feel, the character, the ship customization. That's huge. Creating your own ship, it looked like a really robust system, and then being able to fly that around, shoot that, whatever you come up with, right? The base building I liked, although it had kind of like, well, I won't even get into the negative parts. I'll save that for the other part.
I am cautiously optimistic with Starfield. It's so big that I've already been burned by No Man's Sky, because remember that guy promised everything in the world, or you can fly around to different solar systems and do whatever, and there was not diddly squat to do in the game. So I'm looking at Starfield and it's giving me No Man's Sky's vibes in a good way and in a bad way. And I'm just going to have to sit back and reserve judgment, because yeah, it's all this stuff that I can do, but is anything that I'm doing fun while I'm doing it? And that's my biggest hesitation to go all out with Starfield. So
yeah, the gameplay loop is going to be important.
But the biggest difference between No Man's Sky and obviously Starfield, well, there's a couple. The first one is that Starfield is developed by a much bigger team with a much bigger budget, and it shows. Second thing, I mean, No Man's Sky felt very disjointed, especially at first. It didn't really seem to have a lot of objectives to it. You were just kind of going around on planets and exploring and shit like that, where this game feels like it is still, at the end of the day, it's still a story-focused sci-fi RPG, but it has a lot of the same elements to it. I'm sure, yes, at some point in time, some of their development team probably, played No Man's Sky and were like, well, this is a cool idea or stuff like that. But, at the end of the day, that's a good compliment, I guess, to both teams. But, just Starfield, definitely, it looks amazing. I'm just wondering if it's going to be a little too big, a little too daunting.
Well, there is a beginning, a middle, and an end to Starfield. And No Man's Sky didn't really have that end. Like, the only end to No Man's Sky was to, like, reach the center of the universe. And that was pretty much it. And that was such a long trek that most people didn't get there. So I think a lot more people that try I think there's going to be a higher percentage of people that play Starfield are actually going to complete it, even though it's got over 1,000 planets, because I believe Bethesda, the way they set up their missions will be much more user-friendly, than No Man's Sky was. Like, how many hours did you put into No Man's Sky, Wise? Good talk.
I'll answer 0.
He's busy jerking off again.
Noof, did you try No Man's Sky?
I did. As a matter of fact, I had No Man's Sky when it first came out on the PlayStation 4, and then I picked up the VR version there for a little while, and but I never played it very much on either one of those versions before I pulled the old Newfonomics trick. The game just the VR portion was a lot better, to be honest with you. Definitely made the game a lot more intricate, so to speak, and engaging than just the regular version. And by then, of course, they had already had a lot of updates, and the game was far more refined. But it just never did held my interest. I can see why some people are very diehard fans of it, but I can also see why a lot of people, again, you'd get in, probably play a couple hours, and like, yeah, I think I'm done with this.
Yeah.
All right, so they're also hiring people. I thought that was a welcome addition. Hiring people that you meet to kind of work at your bases. Mm-hmm. I liked that a lot.
See, the thing is, though, I think that it's convoluting the game, though. It's like now you're getting into like real-time strategy, then you're getting, what I'm saying? Then you're getting into Sims, then you're getting into action RPG, then you're getting into fucking exploration. Then
that's
you're
why
getting,
what
I'm saying?
That's the thing that worries me. I think they've cast their net a little bit too wide.
That's what I'm saying. So now you're convoluting the situation where it's going to lose steam, right? And all of a sudden you're like, oh, I gotta
mentions.
What's that?
I love it.
What?
Add more dimensions to it. Hell, fucking let me buy carpets for the fucking base that I
That's
built.
the problem. Like, there's not. I don't think that there's as many people that are going to be like that. You know, where I think it's going to be more of a problem. Everybody's going to be like, I don't want to do that.
There's not going to be this big following of people that want to build things when Minecraft is literally the biggest game in the world.
We're gonna be sitting there watching streams, or instead of guys going on adventures and shooting shit, they're gonna be sitting there like, look, I've got new drapes for my windows. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh man, but that's half the fun, man. Grounded too. Like I can't tell you how
Grounded.
many people
I almost shot myself after 45 minutes. I was like, I can't fucking do this.
How many people I've interacted on Twitter with and like shared base images and stories and whatnot of just like the different cool shit they built. But let's talk about the scope of the game. 100 systems, 1,000 planets. So it's like, it's almost like, because there's no way they handcrafted all this, right? They had to take something from No Man's Sky because No Man's Sky was completely procedurally generated. So they had to have some type of system. They just didn't go on No Man's Sky's level. They kind of...
That's the worry, though. That's the worry. You've got all these planets, and if there's diddly squat to do on each of these planets besides resource accumulation and maybe building a base here and there, then what the hell are we doing?
Well, you lose, like I was saying, you're losing momentum in the game, right? Because then you dive into these other aspects. You're like, okay, I want to continue the story, but I got to go trudge along on this planet to pick up a bunch of fucking fossils, just so I could build up a laboratory. And then you're bored to shit for like 4 days. And then guess what happens?
That's not positive.
Sorry. Hey, man.
You wanted to go into a deep dive with these games, and we're just giving us our honest opinion. That's all we're doing.
Yeah, the positive side. The negative side will come later.
Oh, I haven't even got to my positives yet.
They just...
We're still on Wise Old Gamer here. I was just mouthing off about
no, keep
Starfield.
going. Tell us how expansive this game is, and how many things that you can do, and how many times you can.
You guys are taking a positive and turning it into a negative. I think that's cool as shit that there's 100 systems and 1,000 planets. You guys are looking at the negative side of this. I think because of the show let you down so much.
No, because our history with other games that give us all this crap, but then there's nothing to do in these games that give us all this crap to do,
Better be 1,000 fucking whorehouses in there. That's what I'm worried about. Yeah. Better be lots of hookers up in that Starfield, because I'm telling you, I'm gonna take that much time out of my day to go fucking visit them goddamn fucking cock-ass houses. Oh man, better be some women.
I know when I go on porn,
you almost lost it there.
When I go on YouPorn, I see 1,000 videos. Sometimes I just log off because I get overwhelmed. So,
do you almost feel like maybe some of this other stuff is because like these other little like knickknacks and hiring staff to fucking mop the floors or whatever? Do you think that maybe they got that stuff in there because it's just kind of like a time filler for what you're actually doing? I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. I'm just coming up like, why would you bother adding that? Like, it's not a strategy game. If it's an action RPG, why didn't they just leave it as an action RPG?
Well, they're being more realistic about it, right? If you build a farm and fucking, unless you're gonna make robots or something. But I don't know. I like that. It should add like another aspect to the game where you got to make friends. Like, oh, I did a mission for this guy. Now I can get him to work at my plantation or whatever the fuck.
I don't want friends. I already got friends.
Now I did this for Safe House Sam. Now he can go, in his safe house and help do whatever he wants and help me build my base. I like those things. All right, so
hey, and I think you're alone on this, brother.
High on Life. You remember the High on Life?
He's trying really desperately to look for the positives, but sometimes
I think it's important.
You know what? Like I said, it wasn't a bad show, but I mean, every time that I think of something good, there's something about that good that pisses me off. And then the more I sit on it, the more it bothers me. So, like, I don't be surprised if I wake up tomorrow and the show went from a 6 to a 5. Right? It's like the more I think about it, I don't know, man. It's just not exciting me right now. Xbox is not exciting me right now.
that High on Life game reminded me of like Xbox's version of Bug Snacks, like a more mature, crazy.
Which
Bug
one?
Snack.
Which one?
That kind of reminded me. The one where you got the guns and like their faces.
Oh, dude, that is the highlight of the entire show for me, and that's that game is called what's it called? The High Life?
High on Life.
Or High on Life. High on Life.
That reminded me of Stranger's Wrath. Remember, Stranger's Wrath had those type of live ammos as well. So I'm looking forward to that, actually.
That game looks so good. And apparently my son noticed. He goes, hey, that's the guy who does the voice of Rick. Because it is by the creator of Rick and Morty, right? So he recognized the voice. So it's actually the voice actors as well from Rick and Morty are in the game. And so anyways, the game looks dope. And I didn't realize how bloody violent it was, too. And the other highlight for me was, can I talk positives now that I'm on here, or Wiseau Game, you still got more to say?
Well, we're supposed
to. Go ahead. I'll just shoot down all the positives. Okay, go ahead.
Say anything positive you got.
Here it is. Positive. Positive was that. High on Life. That's the game of the show for me. What else was a big one? Plague Tale Requiem. Now, you want to talk about like Last of Us 2 in 16th century France or whatever century it was in. That looked great. It looked really visceral. You see the way she was knifing guys in the dudes in the neck, just like Ellie does in like Last of Us and shit. Like that was fucking dope, man. So and it looked magnificent on top of it. I think that Plague Tale, Requiem, and High on Life were the two highlights of the show for me. I'm not a racing guy. Like I'll play racing games. The DLC for Forza Horizon 5, the Hot Wheels, that was awesome. Forza Motorsport was awesome if you're into that. I'm not into that. I'm into nice cars. I have nice cars. I just don't give a shit about how they're made. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care about like the pipes that go into the engine and this and that. I don't care about that stuff. I just like to drive them. But in the game, no, not really my thing. Flight Simulator, nah. But those two games, absolute highlights for me. And some of those indie games I'm excited for because I don't have to buy them. Because, because Game Pass is actually become part of a house cost, so I'm not actually paying out of pocket anymore. It just got rolled into all my bills, like everything else, right? Like I don't personally pay for like Netflix and Crave and Disney Plus and Game Pass, all that stuff. It's all rolled into my house bills, and it's an automatic withdrawal, right? So I don't even look at it anymore. So Game Pass is going to be there forever. As long as it's there, I'm there. So I'm looking forward to some playing. So that Castle Crashers? That spiritual successor to Castle Crashers that they showed, that looked pretty cool. But I can also see that pissing me off after an hour because dudes were like, dude, it's going to be so hard. And I'm like, okay, then, not that I'm not interested in playing hard games. I finished Elden Ring for Christ's sake, whatever, right? But, but I'm just interested to try out all those games. There was another one in there that looked really cool, and I can't remember the name of it. There was Redfall, looks like a lot of fun. That'd be a lot of fun to play with the community. How many could you play online together? Is it 4?
I think it was 4.
4? Like that'd be a lot of fun, man. I like look. There's 4 of us right here. How fun would that be to just go in there and start killing vampires one night, right? Yeah. The 4 of us playing or whatever, right? That's
those graphics. I wasn't expecting that exactly. I was expecting more cartoonish from Redfall.
Yeah, it was like I said, it was really hard to tell the visual quality of the games because I was watching it on a stream in a stream, right? So I need to sit back and watch some of those trailers like by myself on YouTube now that they're on the replay in 4K. Like I need to go back and look at those.
It reminded me a lot of Back 4 Blood, except that the characters had a little bit more of a stylization to them.
There was a game called
Back 4 Blood was dog shit. I really hope it's nothing like that. I fucking hated that game.
There was a game called Flintlock that looked pretty good too. It was
I think that was one of the other ones. The Flintlock looked like a lot of fun too. So, like I said, I'm willing to give these games a chance. I'm not being a complete, jerk about this stuff. I'm just saying, I just think that there weren't whatever. But the positives, at least I get to try everything. Diablo 4. But here's the other thing. Like you look at the games like Diablo 4 and stuff, those aren't like, you don't have to buy an Xbox for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I don't care about exclusives because I own everything. So it's not really a problem. But if you're looking at it from the outside looking in, you're trying to entice people to go into the Xbox ecosystem, right? I know they're not allowed to talk about the Activision Blizzard deal right now. And odds are pretty good that Diablo 4 is going to be in Game Pass day one because the deal is going to go through. But we don't know that for sure. So we're just basing it on this show. But that Diablo 4 was fire, man. That was awesome. So
yeah,
you know.
Necromancer class.
But isn't there a problem with all that? Like you're saying that, okay, yeah, this game looks good, and now that because it's on Game Pass, I don't mind trying it. And that's what I don't like. I mean, that's something that really bothers me. Like, which one of these games would you say, okay, yeah, that game looked good, I'm going to go spend money and buy this game? It's good because it's on Game Pass. That's the thing. That's what bothers me.
So what you're saying is
That's
like if
the
there's a
whole
game
point
that's
of
such
Game
a
Pass.
that's true.
There's something that is like, I don't know, it's like anticlimactic to say, oh yeah, it looked good, and since it's on Game Pass, I don't mind trying it, you know? And that's what I'm missing. I'm like, where's that game that said, oh my God.
That's how you discover new games. That's one of their like key selling points. You're never gonna try these games unless they were free, and then hey, maybe 1 out of 10 hits or 1 out of 15 games hit.
Well, see, that's the problem though. Sorry, go ahead, brother.
A game you would have pushed to the side, now you all of a sudden love, and you got like a new game that you like.
Okay, now here's the thing though. If they showed how many games today? 30?
30, yeah.
Okay. If 1 out of those 10 games hits, that means I'm only playing 3 fucking games that I'm interested in. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's not a guaranteed. Like, I mean, nothing's a guarantee. I mean, we know that. Nothing's a guarantee. You know, Sony could show off their big bangers. It's not a guarantee that they're going to be amazing. But guess what? 99.9% of the time, they are good. Yeah. Right? So, like, they very rarely miss. So the thing is, I don't want to trudge through like a whole bunch of shovelware just to find 1 out of out of every 10 games that I'm going to really like. Like, I really liked The Ascent last year, right? And I played the shit out of that. I put in like 60 hours or something like that. I got 1,000 out of 1,000 on it. Loved that game. So far, like from now until the fall, I don't see any reason to have Game Pass right now. None. So like that should have been part of today's show. What are you doing for me today and tomorrow and July and August before the fall comes and you start dropping more games? Why wasn't any like that? You see what I'm saying? That's what it all kind of ties back in. But anyways, we're trying to avoid the negative. But see what's happening here? You see the trend? The trend is every time we try to talk about something positive, it keeps veering off back into the negative. And that's not a good, that's a sign that the show was not good.
Scoring looked good. Scoring looked good. Scoring looked good.
I have
especially when that man pulled out his penis and then,
yeah, what was that? Like an umbilical cord or something? Like that looks like one of those fucked up games that you're gonna play for like 30 minutes and you'd be like, all right, and then you just put it down and you just forget about it. I can't see anybody playing that for like 50 hours.
The PvP sections sounded awesome. And like how they target you, and then there's like everyone in the world's gonna come at you. I hope they don't all come at you at the same time, because that would suck and kind of defeat the point, I think. But the Necromancer class, that's always my favorite class.
There's no way that game's coming out before 2024. You know that. There's no freaking way. They're gonna delay it. You know that. It's Diablo. It's Blizzard. I know.
Well, that's my whole point. What was the whole point of this 12-month focus thing when you cannot give release dates, concrete release dates this day and age? They should have X-nayed that 12. Where the fuck did this 12-month shit come from? Slap that person in the face right now, because that shit originated from PlayStation fanboys that hate Xbox. So someone told Xbox, and they said, this is what they are saying negative about us. And Xbox said, okay, we're going to make a show based on the next 12 months. And this is what we fucking get. And I'm talking about negatives. Thanks a fucking lot, Mag. Fucking
hey, man. I'm not the only one.
These two frauds and talk about the positives of the show.
You're trying to pull out positive when there is none. That's the point. That's our point from the beginning. There is none. There's no
Diablo has a lot of positives to it.
Oh, no. Diablo is definitely a positive. Diablo, that High on Life, and Plague Tale. Highlights of the show for me.
Every time we say something positive, negative things follow.
Mm.
So,
that's what I'm saying. I say the problem is the more you talk about it, the more negatives you find. That's not a good sign.
Positive.
HIV positive. That's about as positive as it's going to get.
The only real positive where there is really no negative that can be said about this is the fact that Silk Song is coming out. I know a lot of people are not into that genre or that game, but those who are looking forward to it, they've announced it. It's coming out. It's coming on Game Pass. Yeah, there's really nothing negative you could say about Silk Song coming out for Game Pass. So,
I'm gonna have to subtract like 5 minutes from the positive time because of you, clown. All right, go.
I can say this much. I think we can all agree that the one game that we all definitely were like, was Pentiment. As a matter of fact, I think Meg said on no.
I was literally yelling just the whole trailer.
Pentiment. That was a weird, shitty little funky game. I don't know what the hell, but yeah, man. Look, to me, I oddly enough, and I'm always one of the most sarcastic or pessimistic people. I found more positive to like in the show than anything negative. Again, we know sort of what the missed opportunities were, but I can only judge a show on what they show, and I can't judge it on what they didn't show. Like I said, Forza was absolutely amazing. The only downside with the Forza announcement was the fact that it's coming out next year. I was hoping maybe in the fall, we'd have another first-party game coming out. But it is, like I said, it looks absolutely phenomenal.
Well, I think they're giving the Hot Wheels expansion room to breathe.
Oh, yeah.
That could be it too. I mean, and the only reason the Hot Wheels expansion for Forza Horizon didn't hit a little heavier was because we already experienced a similar content DLC back on Forza Horizon 3. So it's like new, but it's not exactly new. Like if this was the first time seeing this stuff, we'd probably been like, whoa, but we're kind of like, wow.
But also, awesome. It was coming off of the motorsport, so it was kind of lackluster after you saw motorsport and you're like, wow, look at all that. And then they showed Hot Wheels and you're like, yeah, that's cool.
I mean, say what you like with Scorn. Scorn looks really oddly weird or creepy, but it also looks very cool. Graphics look amazing in that game, and it looks like something I definitely want to try out. It's definitely like a shooter like we really haven't seen in quite some time, or first-person style game. Definitely, like I said, you get the Aliens vibe. Rightfully so, considering it comes from the mind, I think, of H.R. Geiger, who created those worlds. You had that Lightyear Frontier, which kind of looked okay. A lot of people were asking after that, like, was that based on Buzz Lightyear? I don't think so. I think it was just coincidental that there's a name there for that. Minecraft comes back with Legends, sort of like an action. I don't know what the hell.
It's an RTS, basically.
RTS?
Yeah.
So they had a little bit of something for everybody. Like I said, no doubt about it. I mean, Sea of Thieves with, some more content for season 7. Grounded finally gets completed. Again, they could have saved some of that stuff, I think, for a different show. Nobody would have been worse to wear. Just on your big stage, I think, the time counts. Every 5 or 10 minutes counts, and there should have been some stuff there. Like, all they had to do today for a lot of people was drop a couple of those, speculative announcements. And I think a lot of people would have walked away with a different impression. Like if they had said Banjo-Kazooie and it was even a remaster or a remake of the original trilogy or something, or, a slight tease of a Gear 6 or, any of the big Xbox stuff we basically kind of been hanging on to for the last couple of years. I mean, I said on one of my shows, and honestly, if I was doing the show, I would have shown off something on Indiana Jones, and I would have literally had Harrison Ford come out and friggin' announce the damn thing.
Pizzazz, dude, pizzazz. That's what I was talking about. It lacked pizzazz.
Presentation, right? Yeah. Exactly. Like this show didn't hit home the way the year when Keanu Reeves came out and did the stuff. We didn't have hardware announcements this year to worry about. There was not even like, oh, here's a Series X. The production's ramping up now. We're soon going to start getting over this. Sort of the retail glut, so to speak, and we got some new colors coming out for the Series S or something along that lines. A little bit of a mixture.
Maybe
there could have been a lot of things. Yeah, they could have done so many things, but again, I can only base the show on what I've seen, not on things I didn't see. There was a lot of good games there, guys. I mean, we're going to be very busy. Starfield alone, based on what we saw, not only looked extremely impressive. I mean, it's the first time I've actually said Starfield, that's a day one for me. And I've never said that in the past because I didn't know enough about the game and I hadn't seen enough of it to be kind of like, yeah, I want to invest my money on this thing. And yes, I'm going to say invested my money on it because as far as I know, my Game Pass runs out in November, of course, and I don't intend to renew. So I'll be paying the full price for that shit when it drops, whatever time that is. And yes, you can call me an idiot in the chat. You can go right ahead. Diablo 4 looked amazing, but again, it's Diablo 4, and I never really resonated with it. So, but I mean, like I said, the positives, I'm gonna just boil it down to again, Forza Motorsport. The game that really shocked the hell out of me, and me and Mag both agree because we were laughing and thought it was crazy, was that High on Life shooting game. That looked
Loved
like
it.
nothing else. It looked like it took a little bit of what Insomniac did with Sunset Overdrive, mixed it with his first-person shooter, a little bit of a bug snacky kind of a feel because of the guns had like weird little faces talking on them and shit. You know, and obviously Starfield was amazing, and there was a few, and of course Kojima, and then the whole whatever the hell he's got up his sleeve, but then the Ninja Team Ninja stuff, which hopefully at some point, you know, because a lot of us too, as soon as we saw that logo come up on the screen, what was the one thing everybody was saying, Meg? What was the most common? What when the Team Ninja
Ninja Gaiden, Ninja Gaiden.
Ninja Gaiden. So where is the one of the most beloved games from this team? Why, like, it's like Sega ignoring all their properties. I feel like some of this stuff, like the fans are asking for shit and nobody's getting it. We're getting all this other
funny
crap.
like if they're like, hey, listen, we're doing a ninja game by the guys who made Ninja Gaiden. Xbox should have just said, just make a fucking Ninja Gaiden game and we'll give you extra money. We'll pay for all the development, but make it Ninja Gaiden. I bet you $1 million that whatever the hell it is called, Wokok, whatever it is. Yeah. Whatever it's called. Guess what would have been called if it was me in charge? Yeah. It would have been called Ninja Gaiden. Because then it said, hey, here's an extra $50 million. Shut the fuck up. Make Ninja Gaiden 4 or whatever the hell you want to call it. And that's what it's going to be.
The Xbox. Remember, Ninja Gaiden actually started on the Xbox when the original OG Xbox. That's where Ninja Gaiden really got its.
Well, yeah, that version. I mean, the original was Nintendo, right? But like, yeah.
Look at the streaming. Look at the streaming sites right now, right? They're starting to hurt a little bit because there's so much competition. Well, what's the one thing now every streaming site is starting to do? They're starting to make video game-based shows on properties they know are popular. Nintendo doesn't stray too far from the formula. You know why? Because it fucking sells every time. They go with what they appease the new fans, but they always keep the hardcore happy because they bring in the same stuff, and you can call it the same dribble over and over again. But this is what I'm saying. Like, you've got to go back to the well, no matter how much you want to avoid it. You've got to have the names. Like, it's kind of sad when the only Halo stuff we saw at this show was seeing the Pelican or whatever in the inside of Flight Simulator, which looked freaking amazing too, by the way. Right?
Isn't that weird that they didn't talk about Season 3? I thought for sure that would have been something they would have talked about today. I mean, if you're talking about Sea of Thieves, for Christ's sake, and naming your fucking ship, they couldn't talk about like Season 3 of Halo co-op something. You know what I mean? Like talk about dropping the ball with Halo, man.
There's
Jesus
another
Christ.
Positive to the show. The Sea of Thieves little mantra thing. I liked that little skit they had.
It was fun, yeah.
I think every show needs something like that. So that was definitely one positive of the show. Bring more stuff like that. Maybe even one other.
What was the point of showing Ark 2 again? Another trailer for Ark 2. There was still no gameplay. You know what was the big deal?
With the positives? Because like I'm just adding more time to select.
Woo!
For fuck's sake! All right, I'm calling it there. All right, so 544 to 612, and I'm subtracting. I'm going to subtract what? 12 minutes, maybe. I'm going to subtract 12 minutes. All right, so the positives are over. Now you guys can have at it with the negatives of the show.
We already have.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much been the show so far. I do have a legitimate question. Do y'all think it was a good call for them to postpone Starfield after seeing what you saw?
Sorry, say that again. Say that again.
Do you guys think it was a good
the reason I told you guys
to postpone Starfield?
I couldn't hear you. Titan was talking over you.
I said, do y'all think there was...
why
oh my God. Okay.
He wants to know if it was a good idea to delay Starfield based upon what we saw. And I say yes, because I told you guys the reason to delay that game was to fix the flying mechanic. And that whole aspect. And the part that they showed in space where you're flying your created ship, it looked pretty freaking dull. It looked empty as hell. There you got like one planet, maybe one sun, and then two ships.
All I know is,
I buy you, you get behind them and shoot them. And that was it.
Correct me if I'm wrong, because like I said, I've already said a million times now, I was watching the show inside of a stream. But like, was it like I was listening to Dealer's show right after his reaction show, and like Zocker was talking about it. He goes, I swear to God, that thing was running at 20 frames per second.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. It
looked like dog shit. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And like I said, I thought maybe it was Boom's Boom's stream, right? Because it was kind of cutting in and out, and it would get blurry once in a while and pixelated. So like I couldn't tell what was what, but I don't know. It didn't look that. I mean, the vistas looked very impressive. The idea was very impressive, but I don't know. I mean, it just seemed like it was just dying on screen. Like from what I saw, like it's just slowed down and like clunky and heavy, and didn't have any fluidity to it. That's why I keep gravitating towards those third-party games that are coming to Game Pass. Those were the highlights for me so far. You know, I don't know. That's just me. I mean, like I said, it could be completely wrong at the end of the day, but that's what I saw.
It looked like it chugged. I mean, I was watching the stream through IGN, which had probably the better stream, even compared to the Xbox stream, and it was clunky at best. And I was saying, okay, is it just me, or is this thing running at sub 30, maybe 20? And see, that's what I'm afraid of. I like the fact, I like the idea, I like the scope of it.
Yeah.
But what I'm afraid of is that I think they've bitten off more than they can chew. There's just not enough. I know their team is bigger.
Tepka in the chat says he watched the 4K version with a solid 60 frames.
Oh, really?
Oh, okay. I might have to go back.
Okay, that's why I'm saying. Like I say, it's not the end of the world what I'm saying here, because I got to go back and rewatch it. But like I'm hearing from other people too that were saying the same thing that I saw, and I'm like, okay, so anyway, I'm gonna go back and take a look at it before I make a final decision. Axel, nobody cares if there's 1,000 planets. If there's nothing to do on those 1,000 planets, the only person who's gonna be on it is you. Mining for rocks like a schnook
at 60 frames per second. But what is the game? But what in engine, the game is not being, it does not look like it's being rendered at 60 frames per second. The game looks 30 frames per second. And that's why I said that earlier. That's why all the combat parts, it was like really slow. He barely moved his gun. He moved his gun really slow, because when you do that, you don't get the stutter of 30 frames per second. If he went left and right at full speed, I guarantee you it would look ugly and stuttery, hence 30 frames per second.
Well, the dealer was saying the other reason why that he thinks it was a 30 at best. He goes, at best 30 is because they ramped up the graphics to make it look more impressive for the trailer. Right? So, and I mean, this is coming from dealer, okay? It's not like, some, resident scumbag like Axel just saying it. It's like, a legit guy. That's right, Axel, taking shots at you. Hey, man, you're in the chat. You're going to get it from me tonight. Anyways, I was on the show with Axel this morning, so shout out to Axel and Good Morning Xbox. That was fun this morning. But anyways, in all seriousness, yeah. So like they say that he thinks that they did that because they were ramping up. They were trying to ramp up the 4K visuals and ray tracing just for the trailer. Right, so they put it in like graphics mode or whatever, right? So fidelity, whatever the hell you want to call it. That worries me a little bit, right? If this thing's going to perform slow and clunky, and I don't know, like I said, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to shut up.
But
there's people getting all in their feels about this game.
We saw get patches that make it run smoother and whatnot. So
I think the launch version is going to be a cluster. I think the launch version is going to be a cluster. This is a game that when I looked at it, I said, you know what? I'm just going to wait until 1 month out to get into the game, because I know the launch is just going to be horrible. I mean, just because first of all, it's Bethesda. They're known for that shit. Every time they make a new game, even when Skyrim came out, it was like dog shit the first time with the first couple of versions of it until it started patching up. But yeah, and this game with the scope that they have is just, see, what I'm worried about is this. I think that for me, at least, the best space RPG that I've played up to now is the Mass Effect series, because they had just the right amount, a little bit of exploration, a little bit of communication, all of this base building, etc. I just feel that maybe they've bitten off more. It's just way too much, and that's just what I'm worried about. And so I'll just wait till the reviews come out before I.
That's valid.
Yeah,
I agree with that. I agree with Wise Old Gamer. By the way, can we come up with a nickname for Wise Old Gamer? Like Wog sounds stupid, but something instead of having to say his whole fucking name every time I refer to him.
Wise.
Wise, yeah, but you're not wise though. So I'd want to go with something.
Why don't we call him Ouija?
Yeah.
Hey, Ouija.
Ouija.
It's a Ouija.
Oh.
Anyways, I agree with him in the fact that I think that they bit off way more than they could chew. They had way too much development time, and it's becoming unfocused as to what you're playing. That's the thing. Like if you play another game, you go around and you do X, Y, and Z. That's the shtick. That's the loop. That's the gameplay loop. But when you start fucking around with Rockstar on cocaine, okay, all of a sudden now it's like Red Dead Redemption on crystal meth. We're like, well, you could wash your horse's balls and you could do this and you could do that. And nobody fucking cares about that. How many people sat around and played poker unless you were going for the achievement? You know what I'm saying? Like it's cute little side things, but like these things don't seem like cute little side things. Hiring a fucking staff to run my base is not what I want to do. If I want to do that, I'll go to real work where I'm the boss.
Exactly. That's my
Sean, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying, Sean. Give it a chance first, Mag. Yeah, it's not like I'm not going to give it a chance. I am going to be playing it. It looked impressive, but I'm just saying the stuff that I think that's kind of, taken away from my excitement from it.
It's probably not going to happen, but what if they ever came up with an option like that in games where you could literally turn that shit off? Where you can literally go to an option, just say you want to turn off sort of the sim aspects of it or whatever. Something like that'd be cool. I think it would be. I'd go for that too.
Yeah, and they should name it like Scumbag Titan settings or something. It's like if you want to play the stupid shit that Titan. Can you imagine they put that in the thing? You go to the settings and it goes, if you wish to play the stupid shit that Titan likes, press A.
We could call the smite settings. The smite setting.
I would actually pay Microsoft to do that. If you want to deactivate the stupid shit that Titan likes, please press A now.
That's why the show's called Gamers and Drago.
It's in the accessibility section.
Away my gaming card.
Anyways.
All right. So the negatives of Starfield, I think. Yeah, because fucking you missed the good section of it all, even though Wise and Meg, mixed a lot of negatives in with the positive section. Maybe that's what you were missing, Axel. But it's definitely 30 frames per second, I gotta say, almost without a shadow of a doubt. The second part was where you pick to build. There was definitely, it looked like limited space, like very Fallout 4-esque. And I wish they would not do that. That's kind of weak sauce in my opinion.
Oh, by the way, unrelated, I'm just looking at the chat going by. Dizzy Delta, you're 100% correct. Listen to what he says here. I was left with a feeling, but what am I going to play now? Everything coming out this year does not look interesting. I'm not going to go that far because there's actually about 3 or 4 games that I am going to play that I am very interested in, like that High on Life. And what's that?
Requiem.
Requiem. Yeah, Requiem and High on Life are coming. I'm into those. But the feeling, what Dizzy Delta is saying, but that feeling is actually there. No one's dancing in the streets after the show today. People are saying it was good, but ain't nobody fucking, blowing up like fireworks and stuff after that show. Everybody's just kind of like, yeah, it was good. It was, like it's just, you know what I'm saying? It just seems like it's a little bit subdued. That's the best word I can come up with. It's a little bit more subdued, and that's not a good feeling. And that's how I feel after that show. So Dizzy Delta kind of nailed that there. I just wanted to point that out. That's my feeling. Like when the show ended, I was on there with Boom and Noof. I was just like, okay, I gotta go take care of my kids. You know what I mean? That like I didn't feel like fuck yeah. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't freaking out and like throwing my calling my friends and shit.
The Hideo Kojima announcement was like supposed to be their surprise announcement, but like all of us already knew that shit. So when you already know what their surprise announcement is, that kind of takes away from the show as well. That was already leaked to us. It's like, it's so frustrating when things like that get leaked. But how many fucking people were on crack with their predictions about this show, eh?
Oh yeah. Even Rand,
Let's just go out and
Rand shit the bed.
Yeah, but let's say these insiders ain't worth a damn, because we were hearing about this games that IO Interactive is making. We were hearing about, oh my God, there's this another game coming out by Compulsion Games. That was a flop. We heard about Banjo coming out here, something they're going to do a new Banjo this time. Nothing. They were talking about how every developer had to submit some sort of sample to Microsoft.
You gotta like how too, it's not just like some of us guys here that are finding certain things missed opportunities, because they're even getting a little sarcasm I'm fearing from Cliff Blazinski. His tweet a couple hours ago. They announced a new Gears game yet or what?
Wow, what a dick.
I can hear the sarcasm in that. Can you?
Well, actually, I was talking to Wandering Dutch actually after the show too, and he did say something. He goes, you realize that at the end of this year, and this guy's a hardcore Xbox dude, he goes, you realize at the end of this year and the beginning of next year, when they do announce the Marcus Phoenix collection, you're literally walking into a spring with Halo, Forza, and Gears again.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
It's like the mantra continues, and I'm like, shit, I never thought of that. And then you look at it, and it says Halo, Forza, Gears again, are all in the spring of next year, and you're like, oh god damn it, guys! Like, can we move away from? I mean, I'm looking forward to those games. I'm looking forward to a new season of Halo because I like this season shit the bed. Okay, it was fucking garbage, but the next season sounds much more promising. Even Lord Cognito was on. He was playing the other day, and he's just like, "This ain't it, fam." He's like, "This ain't it." Right? And like, you know what I'm saying? And like, these are from Xbox guys.
VR this day and age, it ain't lasting more than 4 months. I don't care. Like, hey,
I played like 30 hours of multiplayer, and I'm done. I'm just like, I'm done. I'm bored now, so I'm gonna move on to something else.
Something about that whole Halo BR thing that they're developing. Apparently, you heard about that a couple of months ago or something, where they're developing a battle royale in Halo Infinite or something. They could have talked about that. Yeah. That would have been more exciting or something, And it's just that. Yeah, I mean, it was just that. I don't know. It just. There was nothing here, and they shit the bed. I mean, I walked away saying, okay, so what am I going to do now? And I went back and started playing Elden Ring, and on my PlayStation. I'm like, this wasn't happening. So
the best announcement came several days ago. It was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles being 6 players playable, and it's coming out here next week on Game Pass.
And not a mention. And not a mention of it. Hey,
let
Sean,
them drop on today's show. How about that?
Sean was talking in the chat here saying, but Uncharted, God of War, Spider-Man, same energy. The only difference is that those games, and I'm not defending Sony's the way that, I hate that company. Love the PlayStation, though. You know that mantra of mine. Those all won game of the year. And they came out flawless. That is the difference, right? When you got a game like Halo and stuff like that, they come out like a pile of shit. Right. And then, not a pile of shit. It wasn't like bad, but missing all kinds of features and things like that. And they still don't know what the fuck they're doing 7 months down the road, 6 months down the road. And they still don't know what the hell is going on. And it's like they're running into walls. Right. It's ridiculous. So, I don't understand how they can't get their shit together. Tiny Tina's Wonderland came out with a 4-player co-op in an open world. No fucking problem whatsoever.
Well, who said today on today's show, you can tell somebody is not thinking over there, because with the Halo show being out and being popular, you'd think they would have had what was it, the Spartan, maybe some of those Halo TV shows.
Yeah, it was it was I think it was Asante talking about. He's like, why the hell aren't they when the Halo show came out? Why didn't they have the Halo show skins in the game? How Fortnite does it. Like Fortnite, when something goes down, like Doctor Strange came out, boom, they had Doctor Strange skins ready in the game, ready to go. Yeah. That's how you fucking get some pizzazz going, man.
Marketing 101. That's
like Christ almighty. Like fucking guys who aren't even getting paid doing podcasts are coming up with better fucking solutions than the fucking pricks. I said fuck like way too many times there. That are getting paid hundreds of thousands, if not more, dollars to do the shit, and they're not fucking doing it. How do I have more pizzazz than all these people working over there? It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
guys, remember we talked. Remember we talked about Stalker 2?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
you guys thought that it would be coming out this year?
Well, I mean, there was, the war thing going.
There was a rumor that they took the development to somewhere in the States, so they were finishing up the game there. That's what I heard.
They did.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I figured they'd do something like that.
Yeah. Way. It wasn't even at the show. At the 12-month show. So
holy shit, I never thought of that.
Stalker 2 completely missing. Hellblade 2 completely missing. Avowed completely missing. And Avowed. All of the fucking people that thought Avowed was going to come out this fucking year or not, you're like, my God, man. Stop making these ridiculous fucking.
Didn't Jez Gordon say that he played Avowed and it was pretty much done or something like that?
No, I think he saw a build. He saw like a leaked build or whatever, but not the full game. It was just like a little snippet.
Okay, because that was that. Like everyone was talking about Avowed coming out this year. Oh yeah, they delayed Starfield and they delayed Redfall because they wanted to give Avowed some room to breathe and stuff like that.
Now the other thing is too is someone mentioned it was on another show I did. We were talking about Indiana Jones. And they're saying, they're going to hold off on Indiana Jones until the release of the movie. The movie comes out in a year, right? It comes out at the end of June or the first week of July. Actually, I think it's the first week of July, July of next year. That's basically 12 months. That ain't coming. There's no way they would have not announced that today. You know what I mean? With gameplay, that's not coming for a long time either. All right, so
Well, there's two basic weapons or two basic phrases that the other team always says against Xbox. Number one was Xbox has no games. Well, that they prove that Xbox definitely has plenty of games. Then
they do, yeah.
But then the other one was wait till next year. That's always the phrase that everyone throws back at Xbox. Wait till next year. And unfortunately, they didn't go that far in alleviating that because basically for most of these games, guess what? You're waiting till next year.
Well, the thing is, I'm waiting to the fall. Right? For the two games that I was looking forward to the most, right? Which are those two games I mentioned a million times already. They're coming out in like October, November, right? Somewhere in there. And that's great. But what am I doing right now is what I'm saying. What's going on June, July, August, September? That's what I'm curious about too. You got 4 months. That's costing me $20 a month. That's $80. Now, it's not the end of the world, $80, but still a game, right? It's still a full price, like AAA game. So what am I paying my $80 from now until then for? That's what they dropped the ball on today. I felt tarnished the show for me is that they didn't make any Game Pass moves for today, for this summer. Nothing was mentioned. And that's very that's very disappointing to me. Like where like you remember even last year's show they announced a whole shitload of games and a bunch of those games dropped the day of the show.
There was a lot of shadow drops, yeah.
Right? And there was like 8 games you could have downloaded the day of the show. And that carried me through the summer. I was playing that awesome Indian game. I can't remember what it was called. Raji? Yeah, I played Raji. Loved that game. The Ascent was in there. A whole bunch of games. A Flight Simulator. All those games were dropped in the summer. They announced fuck all today for the summer. Yes, those games are coming in October and beyond.
Well, all these
games... Thank you, Dizzy Delta. What the fuck is Compulsion? In 2017, one of the developers from Compulsion was on ILP, the Iron Lords podcast, and said, we're making a game that's a mix of BioShock and Uncharted. It is almost 5 years later. We haven't even seen it yet.
That's my point. The only thing we know about Compulsion and InXile is that they got a nice, they have a nice office, and that's all we know about.
Right, and the other thing is too is that I'm thinking about the. Now, here's the thing though, it's fine. I mean, I understand there was also a pandemic. I also understand that they were building up these studios, right? So they went from like 10 people to like 500 or whatever, right? I understand that they were doing that. So here's the thing though, the game plan is, if you're going to spend years and years and years developing and building this solid base of, game making machinery, okay, and all these studios and everything else, then you have to fill the void, people. So do what Sony does. Again, I'm bringing back Sony because Sony's killing it in that department. They've shit the bed in the PS5 gen, okay, for the most part. But when they don't have games coming out, what's the first thing they do? They buy timed exclusivity on big time games, and they tout it like they fucking own it.
No,
so it gives you that.
So you're actually fucking defending what Sony does because you're saying
no. I'm just saying you can play the same game. Microsoft can do the same thing.
No, hell no.
Why not?
Listen to Mag. No, because
why didn't they get those games today? What, like I said, where was Tiny Tina? Where's Lego Star Wars? Where is Dying Light? Why aren't those games in Game Pass? Where's Saints Row? Where's Gotham Knights? Why aren't all those games in Game Pass? That's how you fill the void.
Silence number 2.
You're saying fucking Xbox should buy timed exclusivity?
No, I'm just saying put it on Game Pass.
Game Pass, yeah. Like Tiny Tina.
Let Sony get them day one, but let those schmucks pay $70 for it. I don't give a shit about that. Like the same thing with Activision Blizzard. When they get Activision Blizzard, I don't give a fuck if they go to Sony. You think that bothers me? Doesn't bother me one bit. Let them go pay $80 for the game, $70. I want it in Game Pass because I'm in the ecosystem. That's what I'm getting at. So why aren't they filling the void now?
Because if you put it on Game Pass, it's considered.
And by the way, Axel, I wouldn't play Persona if you put a gun to my dick.
How many how many third-party games were on this show? A ton.
Yeah, but they were all tiny little games.
They were
all
that's
indies. Their attempt at doing that.
They're all indie games. Nobody cares. Like the general public doesn't give a fuck about that because the hardcore makes up about 15 to 20%. You're catering to 15 or 20%, or do you want to cater to the 80% that carry the generation for you?
My question is, what is the difference between this showcase?
Jesus Christ!
What is the difference between what's the fucking difference between this Bethesda showcase and the Summer Game Fest show? I don't see any difference between the games that they came out with.
You know what? That's a damn good point.
It was just horrible. I mean, and I think there were some games on the Summer Game Fest that look actually more intriguing than some of the shit they showed here. Like,
by the way, Bear 32 said the funniest fucking thing in the chat. He goes, you'll be 60 years old playing Elder Scrolls 6. He's probably not far off.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Fuck, it's going to be a race between Elder Scrolls 6 and Grand Theft Auto 6. Which one's going to come out before I fucking retire? Oh, Christ.
So
sorry, I had to throw that in there.
And I would agree with this, Mag. If you're kind of mad at the point that they didn't go after deals like the new Harry Potter game, like those are the quality of games that you were looking for. Is that what you're saying?
Well, yeah, because that's what it looks. It doesn't affect me at all. I'm buying the Harry Potter game. Okay, I'm buying it on both systems. I'm buying it on Xbox so I can game share with my wife, and I'm buying it on the PlayStation because I want all those cool DualSense 5 features. But those are the kind of games that sell and make the console bigger. I don't give a shit about where those games are going. Like I said, I own everything. But my thing is, if you're trying to, I'm talking about from a business aspect. If you're trying to grow your fan base, you have to go after the names people know. People don't fucking know what Castle Crashers is, except for the hardcore.
Or Scorn. Nobody knows.
Or Scorn. You know, pulling out your fucking umbilical cord. Nobody's doing that. Everybody's playing Fortnite. And everybody's playing Call of Duty and Harry Potter and Spider-Man.
Well,
those are the games people are playing.
They did have something like that. Well, wait a minute. They did sort of appeal to that because they have Overwatch 2 coming in day and day.
Overwatch 2 is free to play, though, brother. It's free to play for everybody.
And League of Legends, and the same story. It's a free-to-play game too. So
They're all free to play, so that doesn't have any effect.
They are giving you all of the heroes, which is, I don't know how much of a value that is, but in Smite, all the heroes is like 30.
And see, I said something.
We couldn't go one show. We couldn't go one show without you mentioning that fucking game.
Smite.
Now you see the pain.
Smite you.
Now you see why Darren left.
God damn it. Zelda, if you're in the chat still packing, can you stop and go smack your husband in the fucking head?
That's why he's taking so long to pack and move, because he's constantly stopping and playing Smite over and over again.
Yeah, no kidding. She's probably carrying couches out the door by herself like a boss, and he's sitting there going, "Hey, who's got Zeus?" Fucking asshole.
Hey, it is like at least a $30 value though. That you're getting the Game Pass. So, Noof, negatives, go.
Look, man. Again, the negatives itself are essentially the missed opportunities. The missed opportunities to show, to at least follow up on some of the stuff they've shown over the last two Xbox shows. I mean, the last 2 years obviously were tough. I said with COVID, but they showed us some pretty good shows the last 2 years, and there was a lot of hype around them. And of course, in the 2020 show, you had the Xbox Series X unveiling and all that sort of stuff, or whatever it was, and then last year, a lot of the acquisitions and different things, and a few different big games. Like I said, I mean, why didn't we see something like Avowed or Fable or something? I mean, like really, what are these studios doing? Do they not have enough, or do they not feel competent enough to show it, or is it just Microsoft's big plan is to really keep this till these games are really near completion? Like Mag is right. Like, you got to throw us a bone, and you got to throw out some names that people know and identify with. That's the stuff that gets people hyped. That's the stuff that keeps people talking. I mean, finally they showed something with Starfield, because honestly, up until today's trailer, I was very mum on Starfield. I had no idea what it was about. I hadn't really seen enough gameplay to kind of go, okay, that's a game I'd like to plunk my hard-earned money down for. After today, I'm definitely like, man, it's got my interest peaked. But the only thing I fear with Starfield is the game is going to be massive, and it's going to probably be one of those games that lose me because of its size and scale. You guys all know that I struggle with games that are of the open world nature that have almost too much to do. And a lot of times I just lose interest in them halfway along. So hopefully the game is too big. That's right. I don't like it when you got to jam it in there.
You're not afraid to build it up like heck.
That's right.
Mag, have you ever built a fucking table in your life? That's right.
But, yeah.
Keep going.
I don't want to say, man. Like, I don't know about you guys. Some of you guys really like the show. Some of you guys fucking don't like the show. But let me tell you this. I felt like I was on an episode of fucking Sesame Street in the midway through that show. I saw some guy that fucking indie shit that, indie shit this, and I felt like I was fucking Ernie fucking Burt, because I was the guy that was that cartoony shit, fucking shooter motherfuckers, fucking RTSs, mobile ass motherfucking shit. Yeah, we had that Diablo 4 motherfucker. Honest to God, I've already spent my time in hell. I've kicked the devil's ass. I came back, and he's still going. Now, what the fuck is that shit all about? I don't know. There's a whole lot of weird-ass games up in there. Goddamn guns that be talking and shit. What the fuck kind of crack you guys smoking down there? I don't know, man. Honest to God, I thought it was okay, but honest to God, where's my Fable at, motherfucker? See now, look, you could have done it like this. All you had to do to get everybody's dick up in the night was the fucking, all you do is you show somebody kicking a goddamn chicken, and they go, welcome back, chicken chaser, and you show like 30 seconds of fucking gameplay. Maybe the little kid from Fable 1, he's grown up, he's an adult now, he got pubic hairs, and his fucking lady next door, he's cheating on his old lady, and maybe he's fucking with a demon door. Maybe he's fucking jizzing on the eyeballs of a demon door trying to get in it. I don't know, but that's all you had to do to get people fucking excited. No, you gotta show off fucking all sorts of ass fucking shit up in there. What the fuck, man? I don't know. Come on, Xbox, get with the goddamn program. Who did you fucking hire down there? Like the only person doing the job is Sarah Ball. What the fuck is Matt Booty doing? Putting his goddamn name on a pirate ship. That's all the fuck he done last year.
Epic,
Safe
epic.
House, what do you think of scoring, man?
Oh, that game that's like fucking alien porn. That's what it's short for, alien porn. I mean, first the fucking trailer shows up here, and there's some guy looks like he's pulling like a 10-foot dildo out of his fucking out of his stomach, like it remind me of jerking off with the morning boner to start off. And then there's all sorts of slimy shit coming out of the walls and fucking mutated creatures. It looks like a party at Cletus's fucking house. What the fuck? Shit was crazy, man. Crazy. Scoring. I want to play that just because I want to feel fucking weird for a change. Cletus know how that feels 24/7, but I just want to feel what it's like to live with Cletus. Because I swear that's what his house looked like over there.
Dude, did y'all see that game Cocoon? For a minute there, I was on a stream with Doomsday and stuff, and I was looking at it. It's like this person coming out of this cocoon. I thought it was coming out of a vagina. I said, "Is that a vagina that's coming out?" Like, what the
So
fuck?
what is this, a game about playing with your fucking balls or moving balls all over the fucking place?
Jesus. I mean, here, I know everyone thinks this guy's a prick, but I'm going to mention his name, and I have a hot take. Colin Moriarty. Remember when he came out and he said that all of like Xbox games are kind of like a TV show, whereas PlayStation games are like AAA or whatever, high, like stuff like that. You can see that. He's
not wrong.
That's what I'm saying. You can see that. There was nothing here that would disprove his point. That's what I'm saying. And as much as you hate the guy,
UE5 games. Not one.
What did you say?
Xbox has touted creating all of these UE5 games that are in development, and I don't think any of these are UE5 based.
UE5 has nothing to do with this shit. None of these games, whether you're on UE4, 5, 6, or 7, were worth a damn. That's what I'm saying.
He's not wrong. It's like almost like a made for TV movie versus like a Hollywood like blockbuster, right? And like, the thing is, at the end of the day, okay, Xbox does have big games like that, like Gears of War, like Gears 5 and stuff. That was a big game, right? But still, like the majority of those other games, whatever, you're right. They're almost like a made-for-TV movie that seems kind of not quite there. And Sony knows how to sell the sizzle. There's no question of that, right? And even if the game is kind of simplistic, they still have a way of making it seem really fucking epic, right? And that's the thing. Like, for example, I just bought Ratchet and Clank, a Rift Apart. It was on sale for 50% off, right? So I'm like, fuck it, I'll never get another chance to get this at 50% off with the way Sony is, cocks. But anyways, I bought it. It's a Ratchet and Clank game, but the presentation was unbelievable. I don't know if anybody's played it.
Yes, I beat it. Got a platinum on it. It's really good.
Is it not incredible? That is how you fucking do it. Now, here's the thing. Compare that to Super Lucky's Tale, another 3D platformer, and tell me that they're in the same fucking ballpark. Not even close. And that's not even Insomniac's A-Team. And they made a game that looked like, Lord of the Rings style, like cinematic quality, right? For a 3D platformer, okay? And that wasn't even their A-Team, because their A-Team is working on Spider-Man 2, and then they're also doing pre-production on Wolverine, right? So you look at that, and then you go look across the pond, and you're like, yeah, there is no comparison. Colin Moriarty is not wrong. I mean, for now. That's going to change, but my God, the fucking wait.
Twice a day.
The wait has been pretty fucking epic, and it looks like the wait is going to continue.
It's just that, people always complain about Matt Booty. I think one of the people that need to be hired or fired or something is
Hey, look what's in the chat.
What?
Go ahead. What?
Look who's in the chat.
I'm looking.
Joe
I'm
Dunmore.
looking. Oh my God! It's Joe Dunmore.
But I think like Aaron Greenberg needs to up his game. There are games that they announced that they could have sold a lot better. I think Requiem is one of those games. Scorn is another one of those games. It's like they could have hyped it up a little bit better than they did. I mean, remember when Ghost of Tsushima first came out, when they first showed it, they had this guy with a flute playing it and all that stuff. We didn't even know what the fuck Ghost of Tsushima was. It was a new IP, but the way they presented it, it was like something that was epic, and you're like, oh my God, I gotta play this game. My life will not be complete unless I play this game. And I think that there's a lot to be said about that. They don't know how to market their games. Maybe they got way too many games. Maybe this is an effective Game Pass because all this shit just piles on top of one another. Maybe it's Aaron Greenberg being incompetent. Maybe it's a mixture of all of this stuff.
No, dude, it's the presentation. It's the presentation. They lack presentation in terms of how to, like I said, to sell the sizzle, right?
Exactly.
That's a problem. They don't know how to sell the sizzle properly. And then that's the other thing. Like, whereas like Sony makes it seem like every game that comes out is going to like end world hunger. Okay. Exactly. Like they make it seem like it's the greatest fucking thing you've ever done in your entire life. And even when it's not, because they're not, some of them aren't that great, but my God, do they ever sell the sizzle to make you think it is?
Look at Returnal. Look at how they sold Returnal.
Returnal, look at that. Like, I mean, some people swear by it, but I mean, but the thing is, they made it seem like it was the most epic thing you're ever going to play in your entire life. That is what you call salesmanship, right? Or salespersonship, whatever the fuck you want to say these days. Anyways, Anyway, the point is that they, like I said, they sell the sizzle. Microsoft did not sell the sizzle to me at all today. I mean, some of the games they kind of sold themselves. By the way, that High on Life, holy shit, guys. Did you guys see the one gun where the dude shoots where it's got his own children inside of it?
Oh,
and the guy says, it's okay, just shoot my kids. It's easy to make more. And he shoots those little sperm things out, and then like you fucking shoot it, then you shoot his kids again. Yeah. And then he starts producing more of them. Like, are you fucking insane? Like, that is how you sell a game, man. What's that?
The knife.
And there's a boss.
Oh, the knife. Like stabby.
And a boss that looks like a walking pile of shit. Like,
yeah. And then what was crazy is that how shockingly violent that game got all of a sudden. You see me stab that thing in the eyeball and rip his eyeball out, and I'm like, what the hell was that?
It's like Bug Snacks meets Scorn, man.
Holy fuck. Joe Dunmore wins the internet for the day. Xbox is a strip club that only shows titties. Sony shows titties and Bush. That just won the fucking internet for the entire day. Joe Dunmore wins the internet.
But
look at Forspoken.
All right.
Look at Forspoken. The trailer for Forspoken looks so epic. I instantly told my game share partner on PlayStation, I'm like, you're buying Forspoken. And he's like, yeah, okay, cool. And I showed him the trailer, and he goes, oh, fuck yeah, I'm buying that. Even if the game isn't, like, awesome, it looks awesome. They sold me, right? That's what I'm trying to say. Nothing made me want it. Like Wiseau Gamer actually said earlier in the show, would you actually go out and spend your own money to buy some of these games?
Plague's Tale Requiem, yes.
But they didn't sell it. But look how they showed it. It was just like, here's a game. Here, go at it. There was no, as Max says, there was no sizzle for that game, even though that game could easily have provided enough.
It looks like The Last of Us 2, right? Yeah. Sell it like The Last of Us 2. Make it seem like it's the most emotional, like a big, huge emotional roller coaster, big blockbuster kind of game. Sell it with some major music. Put a fucking orchestra behind it. Do something, right? But the thing is, anyway, that's not an Xbox game anyway. That's an Asobo game. But the point is,
look at what they did to Godfall. Godfall was pretty much an ass fuck. But when they first came out, it was
holy shit.
Yeah.
Right? Sell the goddamn games. But yeah, you're right. The only one that I look like I would actually pay full price for right now would be Plague Tale. Even High on Life, I'm like, that looks like a lot of. I mean, I can't wait to play that game. But I mean, I would pay like $40 for that. Like, I'd wait for like after 1 month they put them on sale for like 40% off. I would buy that at 40% off. But
do you
let's
think
do
this
some
is
closing points real quick before we get out of here. My closing point is gameplay is overrated. That was the one thing a lot of people complained about the last two shows. Oh, there's not a gameplay. There's no gameplay. Well, in this show, there was a fucking ass ton of it.
Yes.
And it was the worst show in 3 years. Go ahead, your guys' closing statements, man.
Nah, my closing statement. I've already said everything I had to say.
Well, hey, you know that's like movie trailers sometimes. Movie trailers sell you on the movie 2 years in advance, and the movie comes out and it's absolute dog shit. You know, you watch it and go, wow, I saw the best of it in 30 seconds, you know? So it's much like a show. I mean, yes, the gameplay is the proof in the pudding, right? But I mean, if you can't back up an amazing trailer that you see 3 years ago with gameplay that is somehow representative or is sort of you know, it feels like they're connected, because sometimes the trailers are so far better than the actual gameplay you see. You're like, man, like, what is going on? Like, I think that's where a lot of the problems with gaming have come in, because you get these big CGI things, you get a lot of this post and pre-production and stuff of this stuff, and they build up this hype. Then you finally see the gameplay and you go, oh, like, that's not kind of what we expected. You know what I mean? So like I said, they like to sell the sizzle up front, and then you get a very undercooked, shitty ass steak on your plate. But no, it is good to see the gameplay, because it's representative of hopefully the games that we're going to play. And that is a good thing. I'm definitely all for more of the gameplay like we did see today, as opposed to just, like I said, quick little trailers. But at the end of the day, it came down to it wasn't really what we saw. It was bad. It was just, there was a lot of stuff I think that Microsoft purposely neglected to show us today. We know they've got more in the tank, and all they had to do was even just show off a couple of really big names. Like, yes, they might be a little ways out. We get that. But again, you gotta always, you gotta tease your fans a little bit. You know what I mean? It's like, you gotta tease them a little bit. You can't go all out with teases, and then the games are so far down the road that you like Scorn, for example. How many times have we seen Scorn?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's cool, we get it, but now you see it and you're like, fucking just release the shit already. I don't want to see another trailer. Like, it's look really cool. I want to buy it, sure thing. But at some point in time, you gotta go, all right, enough's enough. Bring the game out. If this gets delayed again, like, just cancel the whole bloody game at this point. Because
what was the other game, Noof, that we saw? What was the other game that we saw last year or the year before? We were bitching about it. They showed a trailer every. Oh, it was the Arcane one, the one that came out last September. Deathloop. Excuse me. How many fucking trailers of Deathloop did we watch? Like 22 of them, and we're like, God damn it, release the fucking game. Everybody was so sick of it, nobody bought it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. You got it. It's always a mixture, and I know it's tough to get right. And again, it's all these shows, Sony's, Xbox, Nintendo, no matter how you look at it, they're all subjective. You know, they're going to be extremely pleasing to some, they're going to be extremely frustrating and down for some. It really depends. Again, I think I'm starting to learn a lesson is just always kind of go in with sort of lowered expectations. That way you're always a little more pleasantly surprised and setting yourself up for failure. So, but at the same time, like I said, I think they just left too much off the plate today. They showed us some great stuff. Game Pass is in amazing position for the next 12 months or so. If the subscriptions don't skyrocket here, even with what they've shown today, I don't know what to say, because I mean, Diablo 4, even though that's not Game Pass day one, it will likely be there at some point. I mean, obviously they're putting a lot of eggs in that mobile basket. They're, the whole getting Riot Games and just getting the League of Legends. I could give a shit about League of Legends, but I was smart enough to see what they showed today and go, that's huge for Game Pass, for PC, for the console, because however it's playing out, it's going to drive a ton of people into the ecosystem, even if it's not here. Like on the other side of the pond, a lot of that stuff is big, and we can't be always just, like I said, you can't look at everything through one narrow glass, and that's the one that we often take. But at the same time, Mag, like you said, we are the hardcore. We're the ones who drive the industry the most at the end of the day. And they gotta have something there that satiates our need as well, not just trying to appease all the new people to jump over in Game Pass and stuff like that. So I mean, like I said, overall, I was pretty impressed with today's show. I just feel that there was a few missed opportunities they could have taken care of. And I mean, prove me wrong. Maybe next week, maybe there'll be something there on that show that we will see. I'm with you though. I have a funny feeling it'll just be a little bit of a more in-depth version of what we saw today.
Well,
All right, I've got the aggregate numbers, and then we'll get your closing statements, Wise. So 14 minutes positive, 46 minutes negative. So that's a 23% positive for the show collectively for us. So yikes, 77% negative on the show for us.
There you go.
A 23 is an F.
Wise, closing statements, buddy.
Hello, Microsoft. My name is Mr. Patel. I can help you sell Game Pass. I sell the same burrito to everybody at my gas station. It could be cooking for 12 hours and people still eat it. I sell the same hotel room that everyone uses for an hour and leaves, and people can sell it. And I can still sell that to people as well. So if you need help selling Game Pass, I can help you very well. So please call me 1-900-444-Vikram. No, but all jokes aside, all jokes aside, Microsoft, you need to remember who are your ardent supporters, the people who've had Xbox since day one through the shit show that was the Xbox One generation with TV. You did not do what you needed to do today to appease us. We know that there's a lot of games that you have in the pipeline, and maybe it's because you have so many games on Game Pass, you don't know what to show, what not to show. But we want to get hype. We want to get hype for stuff that we know about, and if it's a new IP, as Mag said, sell the sizzle. We want to get hype. We want to be in the same boat as our brothers or brethrens in Sony land is. So that's the thing. This was a clusterfuck, in my opinion. Most of these games could have been easily switched out for the games that were in Summer Game Fest. In fact, there were a couple of games on Summer Game Fest that I actually like Layers of Fear, that y'all could have sort of ported over to Game Pass or something. But do not forget who your core audience is. That's the people who are watching this stream. And if you cater to us, everyone else will follow. So that's all I got to say.
Absolutely. And I wonder if someone else made the kind of compilated the video this year than the last 2 years. That would be interesting to look at, or whatever. That would be good data to have. So everyone, thanks for joining, man. Joe Dunmore, General Spartan, Debka, John 907I, Doggy Dog, Magnetic Storm, Talos Ray, all you guys, everyone I didn't mention, Princess Zelda, everyone I didn't mention, man, thanks for joining us. I'm going to be moving to Georgia tomorrow, so over the next couple weeks I'll be moving, so that Wise will have the
duty of the show
for the next couple weeks on his channel, if you will. Wise, do you want to go ahead and let people know where that is?
Yeah, it will be on my channel, Wise Old Gamer with a Z. I will send out the link via Twitter, and I will get some guests going, and I will announce on Twitter who those guests will be. It will still be on Sunday, the same time, 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern. And yeah, just check us out, support us. And for all of those who came out, thank you. It was an awesome show, and it was good to have the old gang back. And yeah, that's all I got to say.
Absolutely. And one of those from the old gang, the Mag.
Yes.
Mag, what you been doing lately, buddy? Thanks for coming out to join us. I know
man, it was a pleasure, brother.
Yeah, man, our schedules have been crazy lately, eh?
Oh yeah, it's been nuts. But yeah, it was nice to be able to actually cross paths and be able to have a great show today. And we did have a great show. It started off nice and calm, and then sort of escalated as the time went. It got funnier and funnier. But anyways, gotta say, like I said, we'll do it again sometime, whenever. I'm going to be heading out of town actually starting next week, and I won't be back till July. But anyway, that's the whole other thing. This week, though, going to be busy. You guys all know where to find me on Twitter and all that kind of nonsense. But this week, I'm going to be doing. I got my show on Wednesday with Mr. Boomstick, Primetime Gaming, Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Thursday, I'm doing a 2 p.m. Eastern show with Boxenberger live from Germany. And then 7 p.m. with Ham Solo Gaming. I'm going to be doing a show with him at 7 p.m. same day, doubleheader. And then Saturday, I'm going to be on Game On Daily with Gaz in live from London, England. So it's going to be a wild week for me, and it's going to be doing some big goddamn shows this week. And by the way, that Gaz Game On Daily show, Look out for us. We're going to have some major guests, I think, surprise guests popping by to check that show out too. So anyways, guys, Noof, Titan, Wiseau Gamer, you guys are the best. Chat, you guys are amazing. Absolutely adore you guys, man. It's so awesome to do this, and we will do it again. But everybody have a great night.
And last but not least, Noof Nukem.
First of all, Titan, thanks for the invite, brother. It's good to be back here with the Gaming After Dark crew. As always, the chat, yes, you guys are amazing. Good to see so many familiar faces back in the chat, showing up and supporting this particular show tonight. Great stuff indeed. I mean, as far as what I've been up to, man, just usual stuff. Was watching a lot of the NHL playoffs up until my Oilers got eliminated. So go Tampa Bay Lightning, get that third Stanley Cup, baby. Pack it to the Avalanche. Let's do it. Outside of that, man, been riding my motorcycle, having a good time, just, hanging out with friends, just catching up on life, man, stuff that I kind of ignored and put to the back burner for a while. So trying to get back to it. Like I said, I will be back in the future. As before I kind of take another sort of sabbatical for a little while here. I have been doing a bit of podcasting lately, including Mr. Boomstick show this morning, but I'll be on Thursday night with KY Bob and company for Game Set Live. I think that's 7 p.m. Or no, I think it's like 9 p.m. Eastern, 7 Mountain Time, if I'm correct. So I'll probably be back there on Thursday night regurgitating much of what I said today. So that's about it for me, guys. Anyway, take care, everybody. It's good to see everyone once again, and wish everybody all the best. We'll see you here in the future. And I guess just before I go, this man just wants to say a few words. Just wanted to say this was a great show, and it's great that they're going to be back here with all of the guys from Gaming After Dark. It is awesome. Noof Nukem wanted to let you know, Mac, that he's really excited to hang out with you again when he gets out there in Niagara Falls. He's going to be out here in the middle of July. I'm sure you guys will get drunk and say all kinds of crazy shit. It's going to be great. Awesome stuff, guys. Anyway, take care of yourselves. And let's go. Let's do it. Let's go, Xbox. Let's go. I guess we're going to leave off and say this. You know what? We didn't do it this time, but we'll get them next year.
Wait till next E3.
Yeah, wait till next E3. Thanks, Arnie.
Absolutely. Until next week, everybody, let's bring the common back to sense.